I asked him, so are you still homeless? And he says, I'm not homeless, I'm home free.
Yes.
You know, so
home is not a place to me. It's a person or people or like family. That's home.
We're making a movie right now about the issues surrounding the lake, particularly like homelessness. You know what I mean? And I was wondering if any of you guys have been harassed by police.
Oh my God! Wow.
So
Hourly.
We would like to get some of you guys on camera telling about some of your experiences.
All on Facebook. You can see videos yourself.
Yeah, no. Yeah, starting it. Yeah.
I think it's the same question you've already asked. Just get frustrated.
So the topic
I'm not trying to get women harassed, but it's a daily thing. It's frustrating.
Every day. I'm not kidding. Every day.
would you guys mind like talking about it on camera, or we're doing like a documentary and stuff?
Camping on public grounds and park on the playground. After 11 p.m., you will be violating the ordinance 15-8-20. Park hour violation. You are hereby ordered to leave.
Protesters are now occupying Washington Park as Square Park in downtown Salt Lake. They support Salt Lake's homeless population, and they're calling on city leaders to hear their cry for help.
A lot of demonstrations like the one you see behind me recently.
How do you protect the fucking homeless by running them off? Get the fuck up!
Because the road home closed, and organizers say it's now more important than ever to stand with the homeless population.
Hallowed be thy name. That is each and every one of us, individually, as intricate pieces of the puzzle. The lowest part of the puzzle may have the most important pages. We're not being given that chance.
Today, the Salt Lake City Police Department is announcing the arrest of more than a dozen people last night at a homeless camp downtown. 3 were booked and more were cited and released.
At the end of last year, the road home closed. 3 new shelters opened up, organizers say, with about 400 less beds.
And more people are left to sleep outside.
More people are left to sleep outside.
Are you guys aware of the protests that took place here a couple days ago?
Yeah.
How do you guys feel about that?
It was bullshit.
Why was it bullshit?
Why? Because Utah, our criminals are homeless. New York, Detroit, they actually got criminals. They're actually chasing child molesters. They're not letting child molesters out to arrest the homeless because they don't want us camping on the street.
Yeah, you can look at it like that. I get your point.
I mean,
but honestly, hello,
they had nothing better to do
shit happen every day, all day, and it's legal for a reason. Because not a lot of people in this life. Dude, it's just like, this is a religious state. Okay, I'm just gonna shut.
What's going on out there?
The road home officially closed a month ago. 3 new homeless shelters have since opened.
Be the last, and the last is the first. We should not have to die to be the first.
Not always accessible for the homeless downtown.
The shelters are full. Every night we call. Every day we call all of the shelters and we ask about bed availability. Tonight we called and there are 0 beds available in any of the shelters.
People can't always handle that, like that guy was just talking about losing his ID. That's a huge fucking thing. You need your ID to go look for an apartment, or even to go down here to grab food from that food bank or whatever it is up there up the street. You need your ID, or vote.
People need to remember, while they're doing all these acts of cruelty, God is watching, taking notes.
When he's and
that day is true.
For 3 days, somebody's watching.
They will have their judgment.
This isn't the first time this has happened to me either. Every time I get any motivation to actually start doing right, if this shit happens, like my backpack gets stolen with my ID in it,
Every time,
I get jumped,
my
I
ID has
get
been
beat
stolen
up.
like 3 times in the past hour.
It's not like they're worried about voting when they can barely survive.
Yeah.
The only way to help somebody is to help them acquire and successfully establish their daily needs, because there's a thing called Hamas's triangle, right? And it starts with physiological needs, then it goes to psychological.
Oh, Maslow.
Emotional and
Maslow's hierarchy.
Yeah, Maslow's, that's what it is.
For sure. Yeah. And that goes back to what that lady was talking about, Maslow's hierarchy. You know, they're not gonna be worried about voting when, you know, they're out on the streets trying to sleep. You know, like, it's cold as shit out here, and they're trying to figure out where they're gonna go sleep or what they're gonna eat. You know, they're not worried about voting, or, I mean, as important as it is.
And how it can help them out, they just can't.
Yeah. Some people just need an extra hand, you know. That's really what it is. Some people just need an extra hand.
People think they need some help, and there's a lot more than we can do than just throwing away all these tents and sleeping bags and just fucking making their life even harder than it already is. One of the contradictions they said was like the amount of beds they had available when they were doing the protest. That the homeless never asked those protesters for help.
Yeah, I think.
And that's wrong, like you were saying.
We were smoking joints, drinking with the boys.
Is that it? That's the road home?
That's it.
Sweet home Alabama.
This is the line? Whoa.
How often do you guys come in here? How often do you guys come in here for like a daily? Do they usually like beds for everybody?
No, they're always in the room, yeah.
You're always in the
There's 0 beds available in any of the shelters.
Like the system is unfair to you, that you're being targeted, that you are disenfranchised.
Yeah, that's basically what I was saying at the beginning of it all.
Yeah.
That said, you know,
How do you
I
guys
feel like
feel this?
people, not you guys, but people, like cops, they put us in this group of being indifferent and not right and bad people.
For sure.
So, do you think I'm a bad person talking to me? Like,
No, absolutely not. We wouldn't come up and talk to you guys if we thought that. You know, we're trying to see. I feel like, you know, everybody deserves to be heard. You know.
I feel like, you know, everybody deserves to be heard, you know.
What's your story? How did you become homeless, and
I become homeless?
how long have you been homeless?
Like 4 years on and off.
4 years on and off. Where are you from originally?
I'm from South America.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, but I moved when I was 4 to here.
Okay.
Or whatever. I push everybody away. My birthday is in April. 420, holla. From Brazil, but like I said, I moved when I was 4 to here, Utah. So I grew up here. Basically, my life is here.
For about 16 years then?
I don't have a high school diploma.
20 years old?
I don't even know how to drive a car. I don't really have a lot of people, but I have, like I do, but not consistent. I don't really trust anybody, only God. But He put these people in my life, and for some reason I like to see them every day.
For sure.
Because they are like a family to me.
For sure.
They accept me through the bad and the good because there have been so many bad times out here. And then good, especially in the good, because they're like, yeah, she's not being a B-word today.
If you could tell the world something, what would you tell them about your story, and what would you want them to know?
It's been pretty unremarkable so far, honestly.
For sure.
Yeah, but it was also beautiful. It's been beautiful, even though I've struggled. And this kind of stuff, you know, being homeless or whatever, people think it's such a detriment, but some of us like it.
For sure.
We get comfortable with the fact that we only have to do what we want to do every day, and usually we do really good things. We're pretty good people, and it sucks that they have to like categorize people. Like, here's the homeless, here's people that have houses, here's the people that are homeless want me.
For sure. I have a friend who actually who lives that lifestyle. He jumps trains.
Transient.
I'm not from Utah myself, you know. So when I came out here, I've been here for about 5 years. When I came out here by accident. I came to visit, and you know, I seen the scenery, and I thought it was a beautiful place. But I never thought that, you know, there was so much homelessness.
That's sweet, man. You want to sell it?
What? Sell what?
That camera.
Nah.
Come on, man. Hey, shit. Hey, I'm lost with the most. You know, because you're in my hood. Hey, I'm Barter's local Swiss Side original.
I'm Barter's local Swiss Side original.
Let's make it right.
It's
just.
What's that? Is that energy drink?
Yeah.
I just think.
You want some? You want to trade me that for my camera?
Yeah.
To our government
I don't
here.
even like him. I don't even know you.
I've been out of federal prison for 11 years. My name is Brad Gordon, and I've done everything there is to do to change my life and change my life. For 11 years, I have struggled. For the first 9 of those years, I've worked my ass off. I still couldn't get a place to live. I am where I am right now because of, not because I don't want to work, not because I don't want to be right, but because this is all it was. I can't get a place to live. I could be doing good. I haven't had a charge since 2001. But because I have criminal history prior to that, I can't get a place to live. I've never killed nobody, I've never raped nobody, I've never done nothing like that, but I was a knucklehead, I get it. 19 years ago, 20 years ago.
How old are you now?
44, I'll be 45 in less than a month. I'm sick of it. I've been out here on these streets. I can't get a step ahead to save my life. I haven't had a charge since 2001.
Would you mind talking about the charges that you've like accumulated
Prior to
over
that,
the
there's
years?
drug charges, there's burglary charges, and then I went to federal prison for bank fraud. That's per due payroll checks. But like I said, that was prior to the end of November 2001. I haven't done that since. I've been out for 11 years. You know, at what point do we get to put that? They say that when we go do our time and we come out, we've done our time, it's behind us, right?
That's not true.
Never behind us.
But that's what they say, though, right? They say we do our time, we do our time for our crime, put it behind us, right? It's not true. When I go do a rental application for an apartment, my charges from 1993 will still come up, and they'll deny me for it. At what point do we put that behind us? At what point have we paid our debts to society, and when can we get a place to live?
Having a criminal past and, you know, drugs and stuff like that, is that like, would you say that that's probably like a common theme that appears to why people get on the streets? What's that?
Yeah. Everybody gets high.
When we think about it, where we would be without the drugs, and how can we get away from the police if we couldn't even run, and how was I given 2 daughters before I was given 3 sons? This life is crazy, ain't it? Given 2 daughters before I was given 3 sons.
You guys giving up trying to get beds?
Oh, dude, man, you know what? That is like the most fucked up thing you can put down. Because you know what? It ain't about what happens. It is what you got to deal with.
What kind of drugs do you guys see on the streets out here, like on a daily basis? What do you guys? Everything.
Come on, man.
What's the worst that you've seen out here?
You got
What's the
water out of the gutter with the needle. You got no place to go. These guys don't got no place to go. My baby's mom.
Would you mind sharing with us like some of the charges that you've accumulated, like over the past?
Yeah.
Possession, intent,
but you know what? Hey, you know, don't go bad on the homeless.
possession of burglary tools, human trafficking.
No, don't simplify.
Oh wow.
No. See, what you just said is wrong.
I'm not drunk driving.
Don't ever simplify. Don't treat him like a baby. You know?
Like, yeah, that's what
Hey,
wow.
you're fucking going don't go bad on the whole possession of burglary tools.
So, are you aware of? So you remember all that stuff that happened in Rio Grande, right? Yeah. I feel what you're saying, man. Cause during that time that shit happened, I was driving down right there by Gateway, and the cops pulled me over, and I didn't have a license. I had insurance, but they said my taillight was out. I ended up getting locked up because, you know, there was a whole lot of cops out there, and they found weed in my car. I had my little brothers with me, and they found weed in the car. I had my little brothers with me. I was trying to take them school shopping, and they were trying to say that I was distributing, you know, because, you know, the whole operation was going on. I got locked up. I got put on probation for 2 years. I did a little bit of time, and I have on my record endangerment of a child or elderly person because of the marijuana. And then they found a knife in my trunk, you know, which is not illegal, but because there was weed, they put possession of a dangerous weapon. And now every time I try to get an apartment, because I have to rely on other people as well, you know, so I feel you guys, you know. I try to get an apartment, I don't get approved because, you know, I look like a bad person. You know, I have endangerment of a child, possession with intent to distribute, and possession of a dangerous weapon, you know, which is not, it's very exaggerated, you feel me? Yeah, but I notice a lot of the theme is, you know, it's past criminal history, and you go in, you do your time, you pay your debt to society, but you come out and it's not actually paid because you're still getting punished, you feel me? You're still getting punished for shit that you did a long time ago, you know?
It's so cold out here. That was a big thing. They're sleeping out here because they have mental health problems, you know, and a lot of them were saying that they don't have beds. It's hard to get beds too, so that was another, just like, they don't really have many options.
There's just a lot more roadblocks and how hard you have to work just to really get anywhere, sort of, even just minuscule.
Yeah.
Because their criminal history or drug use, they don't have many options to get out of. And I feel like our system just kind of wants to ignore that. It kind of wants to bury it in favor of this illusion, you know? Just ignore the strife and struggle of these human beings that deserve dignity and respect, you know?
You really just want to tell you guys.
With the heart that cares.
Feel good, he's sick and homeless.
So we're here with Rosie. Rosie, how you doing?
I'm doing good.
Good. I'm doing all right. So I've known Rosie for some time now. We met back like in 2017, right?
Yeah.
And I know a little bit about her story. She's an amazing person, a really good friend of mine. As young as she is, she's somebody who I look up to and someone who inspires me, you know, to be a better person, you know. She's just a very good person. You're a very good person. One of the best people that I've met, and you know, one of the kindest people that I've met, and known your story. I know from what I know, people who go through stuff that you go through, like, the world can be like a cruel place, you know, and that type of shit, like, it turns people hard, it turns people mean, but you're not like that, you know. You got a really good heart, and I respect you a lot, you know, and you know, you're a very good friend of mine, you know.
The issue that I feel like, you know, the activists and everybody kind of that wants to make a stand kind of overshadows, or at least tends to not bring to light, is that a lot of those people have the same equal opportunity we do to make it out, and they choose, you know, the drug use.
Not necessarily, not everybody. And every time he tries to get an apartment or tries to get a job, it's very difficult. His options are limited because they do background checks when you're trying to get an apartment. They do background checks when you're trying to get a job, you know. So like there's limited options. On top of that, like, there's a common theme of, you know, just like being motivated, and of course like the drug use, and like it seems to be like a common theme, you know.
What I've been through, and then also seeing this, it just seems like a lot of people kind of get there mainly just because of the justice system. That seems to be the prevailing issue, because, you know, even the cops said what they're worried about is like the drugs.
Yeah.
You know, that seems the drugs are like the main thing, you know what I mean? So it's just kind of like they play a huge part in where somebody can end up, you know?
For sure.
And having those type of charges like hinders you for the rest of your life, unless somehow you're able to get them expunged.
I haven't lived here in Utah like my whole life, and like when I first came here, it shocked me, you know, like this is like the last place I would think to see issues like this, you know. So it's very surprising to me, and it's a very interesting story, you know. Like all this is very interesting.
And the thing about it too that I think is trippy is like I grew up in Salt Lake, right?
For sure.
I grew up in the States, so like I remember as a child not even seeing as many homeless people as I do now. Wow. You know what I mean? And like,
about when did you think that it started getting a little
like
intense?
I said like 2014. 2014 is when I personally myself realized that like there was more homeless people in the streets, there was more police force in the streets, there was more aggravated people in the streets, you know what I mean? Like
for sure.
Everybody seemed to be at this like mind state of like they don't know what to do, but at the same time, in not knowing what to do, they know they can fight.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, exactly.
And it's like this level of agitation.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And then you get to the point where like people have been, you know, stifled out or stomped out so long and unheard that all they want to do is yell and they get the chance to talk.